was an exemplar of integrity and discipline in leadership. He presided over the affairs of our country with exceptional dedication and patriotism. He may not have achieved the general expectations in the areas of the country's economy and internal security, but there can be no gainsaying that he led with unequal devotion to the welfare of the citizens of the country. May, as I said, his soul rest in peace, and may the Almighty comfort his family. Well, I come to the summit. The Patriots, as you know, is a group of respected elder statesmen and women who are committed to achieving the unity and good governance of Nigeria under a suitable People's Democratic Constitution. As a background to this summit, it is important to state the following indisputable facts that are recognized by all our citizens, except, of course, those who would want to continue to live in denial. First, Nigeria is a pluralistic country. And like all successful pluralistic countries around the world, for its stability and maximal development, its constitution must address its pluralism by being formulated by elected representatives of its diverse peoples. Our present 1999 Constitution, as amended, is not such a constitution. It was not democratically formulated. It was instead imposed on the country through a decree by the military administration. And the governance system derived from it is not only non-inclusive, but also induces over-expenditure of the nation's resources on administration rather than on capital development. Hence, the need for a new constitution made by the peoples of our country. There are also equally incontrovertible facts about the current situation in our country. First, there is serious insecurity of life and property, with kidnappings and killings happening virtually every day in most parts of the country, especially in the Middle Belt, the Northeast, the Northwest regions, where not only huge numbers of life and property are regularly lost, but also farmers are no longer able to go to their farms, thereby impacting adversely on the country's food supply. Secondly, Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world, with the levels of poverty and sufferings among the citizens rising rather than diminishing. And thirdly, the development of the country's infrastructure is generally lagging behind, including especially in health and education facilities, which in many cases are no longer fit for purpose. Fourthly, there is eroding sense of national unity within a pluralistic country that is still struggling to become a nation. Again, there is a palpable mood of hopelessness and lack of confidence in the future among the growing population of our young people. And overall, the present 36 federating units are obviously incapable of generating and sustaining the pace of national development achieved in the early years of our independence under the 1963 Constitution. In organizing this national summit, the patriots are of the view that the incontrovertible facts that I have mentioned can be more effectively reversed if our pluralistic country is given a more credible and truly federal constitution, democratically made by the Nigerian people, a constitution that would be in sync with the constitutions of successful pluralistic countries around the world. To those who say that the fate of a country depends primarily on its leadership, I say that the constitution from which the system of governance is derived largely determines the character of the people who get elected or appointed to govern the country from the three arms of the government. It is therefore my hope that the deliberations of this summit, which has in attendance so many leaders of thought and representatives of the country's major socio-cultural groups, as well as representatives of the important women and youth sections of our society, will produce recommendations on the key elements of the desired new constitution and the process of its actualization. The key elements, I hope, that will be discussed should include such questions as presidential or parliamentary system, tenure and rotation of the heads of government at the national and sub-national levels, unicameral or bicameral legislature, number of federating units, powers of the national and the sub-national governments, structure of the security agencies, political parties and their organization, management of the country's resources, and indeed other important features of a constitution. And in considering the process of actualizing the new constitution, I hope there would be due emphasis on ensuring that it is formulated by representatives specifically elected for that purpose by the Nigerian people, who, in order to give it legitimacy, would have to endorse it in a national referendum. Finally, I want here to thank the organizers of the town hall meetings that preceded this summit in the 6 geopolitical zones, which have provided ideas that are to be fed into our deliberations.
It is with an immense sense of honor, profound humility, and unwavering commitment to our national responsibilities that I warmly welcome each and every one of you to this historic event, the 2025 National Constitutional Summit. This significant gathering has been convened by the patrons and is being held here today in the heart of our nation's capital, Abuja. Today we come together not merely as individuals representing various institutions, ethnic groups, or political parties, but as proud citizens united by a common and noble aspiration to forge a Nigeria that truly works for all its people. We gather as a group of patriots, although with differing ideas and perspectives, yet deeply committed to helping shape a Nigeria that we're all proud of. This moment marks a significant step in our journey towards unity, progress, and national development. By standing together today, we reaffirm our shared dedication to the ideal of fairness, justice, and equity, which are the foundation of a truly great nation. This summit is a citizen-driven constitutional intervention stemming from months and even years of relentless advocacy, extensive consultations, and a growing sense of public urgency. We are here because, as we have been told, the existing structure established by the 1999 Constitution has consistently proven to be inadequate in effectively addressing the core issues related to governance, equity, inclusion, and national cohesion. Our agenda for the coming days is ambitious, but aims to be straightforward and focused. We will scrutinize vital themes, including the organization and structure of the Nigerian Federation, the role and functioning of local governments and traditional institutions. We will look at resource control and fiscal federalism, electoral reforms and judicial reforms, of course, security concerns nationwide, and the rights and responsibilities of citizenship in a democracy in the 21st century. More importantly, we will work diligently to ensure that no voice is too small and that no group is left behind. This summit is multi-generational spanning different regions and inclusive of various sectors, truly embodying the Nigeria we aspire to build. To our young people, your presence here is a compelling reminder that the future of this nation undoubtedly rests in your hands. To the women, our committed civil society actors, our highly esteemed traditional rulers, and revered religious figures, your insights, viewpoints, and contributions are not only valuable but essential to shaping the path forward. Your involvement and voices are crucial in building a brighter, more inclusive, and resilient future for all. As the co-chair of this organizing committee, I feel it is essential to take a moment to sincerely commend and acknowledge the tireless dedication, hard work of His Excellency, Ambassador Emeka Anuaoku, and the wonderful team put together to midwife this process, especially the commitment of all our volunteers, advisors, and conveners. Allow me to conclude by emphasizing that this moment does not signify an end, but rather a new commencement. The resolutions and proposals arising from this summit will be carefully documented, further refined, and subsequently presented to both the Presidency and the National Assembly for their consideration. Our intention is not to foster confrontation, but to promote constructive collaboration and mutual understanding. It is imperative that we persuade our leaders through reasoned argument, consensus building, and compelling evidence that Nigeria is in dire need of a new constitutional framework that reflects the aspirations and realities of all its citizens. Lastly, let history record that in 2025, Nigeria came together not to complain, not to incite, but to build a framework for the country we desire and deserve. On that note, once again, I welcome you all warmly. I invite us to proceed with the seriousness, respect, and resolve that this moment demands. Let me finally thank the President and Commander-in-Chief, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for providing an enabling environment for the summit to hold.
Let me begin by commending the patriots for their vision, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to convening this historic summit. In a nation burdened by silence, convening a dialogue of this magnitude, though not for the first time, not the first of its kind, is an act of bold patriotism. As the son of the South-South, and as one who has carried the burden of this nation's dream across many decades, I stand before you not just to offer goodwill, but to lend voice to the truth that has often been expressed and can no longer be deferred. This summit is not another routine conference. It is a defining moment. Perhaps it is the last peaceful opportunity we have to confront the fundamental contradiction of Nigeria, that we are governed not by the will of the people, but by a constitution that robs us of our sovereignty. Let us speak frankly to the state of our union, which is fractured, but not beyond repair. Our federation is in distress. Our democracy is in disrepute. And our people, the very source of power in a true republic, have become totally disenfranchised and therefore disillusioned and detached and alienated. We from the South-South region join other zones across the country who have agreed that this union is not working as it is. It can only be sustained if it is restructured on the basis of equity, justice, and mutual consent. Now, the patriots have called us for us to examine certain things: the legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, the viability of our current political system, the path towards restoring true sovereignty to the Nigerian people. This agenda, therefore, is not only the right one, but it is in fact the only one that matters now. We endorse it in its entirety because the truth is this: the 1999 Constitution was not the people's constitution. It was a military decree imposed without the consent of the people. The military suspended the 1963 Constitution, which remains the last legal expression of our people's collective will and agreed terms of condition for staying together. That Constitution, I'd like to emphasize, was suspended. It was never repealed, proscribed, or abrogated. At the end, rather than lift the suspension and restore our legitimate constitution, it was instead replaced with a fraudulent document that begins with a lie that says, "We the people." This document was not even submitted to the National Assembly for adoption or ratification before it was put into use. The people of Nigeria were not consulted. We did not consent. It was foisted on us, and our sovereignty was therefore stolen. Now, let us look at why our present political system cannot work. We are running a democracy where election results are determined not by the ballot, but by various other undemocratic means. Representatives and leaders are selected by a few and imposed. They are not elected. Power flows from the party barons and not from the people. Public service is privatized for profit, to individual profit, and not for national purpose. This is not democracy. This elite authoritarianism with scant democratic decoration on it. And the people know it. That is why voters turnout declines, as we saw in the last election in Lagos. That is why trust in the government is dead. This has been exacerbated by the departure from a functional federal system to an imperial presidential unitary system, which we practice at the moment. Unless we act now, we reverse this situation, the country is bound to go into fragmentation. So we, in consultation with other leaders and the compatriots, a group that I lead, believe the following must be addressed in the new constitution. Sovereignty must return to the people. We must get rid of this unitary system and reinstate the federal system of governance that our founding fathers had agreed to. True federalism must guarantee maximum autonomy to the federating units. Cost of politics must be brought down to open space for inclusiveness and real leadership. Unicameral legislature with ministers appointed only from elected representatives must be reinstated. Real mechanisms for accountability, recall, and sanction for non-performing and deviant public officers must also be instituted. Impunity must end, transparency must begin. Elections must be driven by ideas and integrity, not by money. And finally, party leadership must grow from within the party. For this summit to be considered a success, the critical questions that have to be answered are, is the relationship between the nations that form Nigeria working? If not, why? And what new terms can be made to make it work? Is the Constitution helping to unite, coexist for people to coexist peacefully and prosper? If not, why? And what can we do to make it work? Is our political system inclusive? Is it delivering accountable governance and promoting national progress? If not, why? And what political system will? If we cannot honestly face these questions and live here with a clear strategy, timeline, and commitment to change, then this summit, with all its good intentions, would not have been as big a success as it ought to have been. This is the right meeting, but what are our chances of success? That will depend on just one thing. Will we confront the hijacking of our sovereignty and do every legitimate thing and legal thing to fix it? If we live here with a clear, actionable roadmap to 1, restore sovereignty to the people, 2, enact a truly people-driven constitution, and 3, reform our political system to reflect our realities, then this meeting will go down in history as the turning point for Nigeria. But if we leave with nothing but speeches, handshakes, and photo ops, the tragedy of Nigeria will continue, and we will share in the blame. Let us therefore resolve to reclaim Nigeria together. We must not be afraid to change. What we must rather be afraid of is not to change. Nigeria's unity will only be preserved through fairness and justice, not force or fear. And if we miss this opportunity, the next chapter may be one of irreversible fragmentation. I believe, and I know that many of you also believe, that time is running out. Let this summit be a strident call for a new beginning. Let the patriots be remembered as the spark that reignited the flame of sovereignty. Let Nigeria be reborn, not just as a country, but as a true nation.
Coalition. No, I am part and parcel. I'm a senator of the Federal Republic, and I'm representing Ogun East in the Senate with the party APC. So this is not about any coalition. Quite on the contrary, this is part of our responsibility to draw the attention of people in power to appreciate the real aspiration of the people. So it's a good feedback mechanism. If you listen to my speech, part of what I said was that we commended the president for allowing this kind of debate to go on nationwide. Don't forget, what's going on this week is just like a climax. This thing has been going on from various zones. All the 6 zones have had cause to come together to evaluate, to make comments, to make suggestions. And what we're just trying to do, like I've said earlier on, is to collate all of this, distill them, and then turn them away from a cacophony of voices to a solid document. Because it is not easy for the governments where they are, even the National Assembly, to be able to completely aggregate all the opinions of the people. So this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I am sure that it can only complement the efforts of the people in government and also at the assemblies.
Is it a gathering of the elites in Abuja, or inputs were taken from the grassroots?
From what you will see here today, it's just opening up. What you've heard now is goodwill messages from leaders, former presidents, and so on and so forth. We have people from the civil liberties organizations here. We have younger people. We have women. Everybody is going to have their say. So it's nothing elitist at all. It cannot be elitist. You have Pandem here. You have Afenifere. You have Arewa Consultative Forum. Everybody is here. So it's not elitist at all. It's actually more grassroots. Thank you.
Sir, is there any, following this thing, what informed you, what gave you the courage that not fearing that there will be a backlash?
There cannot be any backlash in a democratic environment where people Nobody is inciting anybody here. We are saying as stakeholders, let us all come together, make suggestions. As a matter of fact, I can assure you that the government is very excited about what is going on. This is much better than people go on the streets. This is actually democracy. When this fail, then you now see, people going on the streets and then there will be violence. No, that's not what we're looking for. And I'm sure the government is quite appreciative of the efforts that's going on here.
Your Excellency, talking about a new constitution, is this something that Nigerians should be expected? Is this something realistic? Talking as a lawmaker, is this something realistic?
Oh, it's realistic. Even in the National Assembly, you may not be aware, a lot of amendments are going on slowly, gradually with our laws. When things, okay, I'll give you a typical example of some of the suggestions I've had. Women who marry from one state to the other. Sometimes a woman marries for 30, 40 years to a husband in another state, not his state of origin. And because he's not from that state, he's not able to benefit from the entitlement of that state. That's something that requires amendment. Because if you marry to another state, 40 years later, they still say you don't belong to them. What kind of thing is that? So there are various things that make sense to amend. And that's why I said that at the beginning, the Constitution is not a static document. It's something that is subject to, even American Constitution, you heard of the Fifth Amendment, all sorts of amendments are going up from time to time. That's what it's all about.
This national summit on the future of Nigeria's constitution is not just about the South-South, it's about Nigeria. It's about bringing the people of Nigeria together to speak to ourselves, and led by a venerated and much respected person as Chief Emeka Anuaoku at his age of over 90 years, bringing us together and bringing people of like age and like national commitment gives us, some of us, the younger people, a lot of inspiration to be here. But for us, we believe that dialogue, discussing to understand ourselves is sine qua non. It's a basic fundamental for us to build a country. You see, before independence, between 1950 and 1960, one thing that our fathers exhibited was that power of dialogue. They had what they call a Ibadan Conference, 1950. And after that, we had the Macpherson Constitution. After that, we had the Littleton Constitution. After that, we had a series of constitutional talks in Lancaster House and in Lagos. Finally, the Independent Constitution of 1960. Then there was the Parliament where the 1963 Constitution was debated. All these were processes of dialogue. I always give an example, the example of Pakistan and India. By 1947, when Britain was giving independence to the Indian subcontinent, Pakistan said, no, we want to go on our own. We don't want to be in the same place with India. And their leader, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, insisted that, no, we don't want to be. And he left. And Indians with Nehru formed their country. Pakistan became a country. Like the two have now become many other countries. Now, the catch line there is that our fathers saw what happened to India and Pakistan, but decided, Zik, Awolowo, Sadwana, Nauru, Dapabriye, J.S. Taka, all the leaders of Nigeria said, no, we will not break apart. Yeah, we are different, but we will be one country. Now they handed us over a country which they negotiated. The terms of staying together were negotiated, and they encapsulated in the 1963 Constitution. The order, they said, okay, if we must stay together, let's do things like this. In 1966, this process of negotiation took hundreds of the best brains of every part. 1963, few military people, maybe about 10, 15, the Supreme Military Council, we have hereby suspended the Constitution. And we're in that state. Since after then, other constitutional efforts have not been under a peaceful democratic setting. They've been under setting in which the military say, we are watching you. Then we decree the Constitution into being. So what Chief Anuaoku is saying today, under the leadership of the patriots, is to say, let us talk as a people like our fathers did. Come back to the old regime. Come back to how they did things, how they spoke, and agreed. So that's what we are doing today. For us in the Niger Delta, for example, issues of the fiscal situation, resource control is very important to us. Our fathers, that was one of the most vexatious issues, resource control. And they agreed on certain regimes. This is how every part of Nigeria has resources, whether you are from the extreme north, extreme northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, central, south. There are a lot of resources, mineral resources, agricultural resources. Where are the granite pyramids? You don't see them again. Where is the huge? We are number one in producing cocoa in the world. Why don't we produce again? Because everybody is today depending on the oil from Niger Delta. We come and sit down and share the oil. But our fathers didn't do that. Our fathers had granite pyramids and they had all these other things to produce. We're a productive country. We're not only consuming. So that's one of the points Chief Anuaoku made, that the fiscal regime does not make us to be competitive, does not make us to work hard. So I think we will try and see how best we can discuss and come into consensus.
From the 1999 Constitution, the way it is written, it's written in a very masculine language because it keeps saying he. There's no she. And of course, the Nigerian men interpret it as he. So when you say chairman, for instance, everybody, even in the political parties, they believe that the chairman must be a man. You know, no room for women. Everything is he. And the women have been, agitating. The women have been asking. The women have been screaming and demanding that it should be made, gender friendly. So where you see he, you should know that it includes, the interpretation says it includes she. But Nigerians don't interpret it like that. So be explicit. So you either say she that includes he, because he does not include she. Abi, he is a she. There is no she there, but she includes he. S-H-E, you will find he there. So it's either you change it to she, although anywhere you see he, put she. But that's on the lighter side. But the seriousness is that Nigerian Constitution does not favor the female gender. And Nigerian women have been asking. You remember last year, the Nigerian women came out and asked that just a few clauses in the constitutional amendment, should be changed, to accommodate women. What happened? They threw all the 5 asks of women, all the things that women asked for, they threw them out. Now they are back again. We are back again. We are even back to asking that special seats should be created for women in the National Assembly. Because when we were advocating, we are going to ask them to give us space in the National Assembly. They would send us back to our political parties. The political parties, of course, they don't give women opportunity to get the tickets to run. And then we said, let it be done legislatively now. It can be done legislatively. Include special seats for women. We are going up and down now, and I hope that it will go. The only hope that I have is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Honorable Benjamin Kanu. He is the one that is, at the forefront, supporting us. I hope that he has enough clout to be able to push it for us. Let us have special seats so that there will be more women at the Dome. The Dome is the National Assembly, where decisions that, that have to do with life and death, has to do with the lives and well-being of Nigerians are taken, so that you can hear the women's perspective, the women's point of view. Because he who wears the shoe knows where it hurts. You can't expect men who don't go to maternity ward to be talking about, building hospitals and making sure that the maternity wards are comfortable and safe for women who carry pregnancy. But if there are women legislators there, they will be very much interested in making sure that our health sector, our health, is catered for. There's enough money. There's enough money put in the health sector, because who goes to the hospital more? Women and children. Men are not sick, so it doesn't concern you. Do you understand? It's women who have children who go to school. So they will be interested in making sure that there is provision in the education sector so that the children that they bring forth can be educated, properly educated. And in all those, critical areas of living, areas of survival, areas of development, it concerns women more than it concerns men. The only thing that concerns men is buying convoy, jeep, 10 jeeps in their convoy. So they will put money, and when they come, the first thing they do is to buy jeeps that they will be riding. We are saying no, please. We want more women. This constitutional, this thing that we are doing here now, we are trying to see how this Nigerian constitution can be more inclusive, not only women, children, the disabled, the rich, the poor, and everybody, and all the ethnic nationalities. Let everybody have a sense of belonging and ownership. Because if they don't own the constitution, if they don't own the provisions, then nobody cares to, to operate them. So we are seeking for a more, and then of course at this constitutional conference we are seeking that powers should be devolved. Too much power at the center. Unitary system has not favored us. We never favor us. We are a federation, and so the federating units must have enough power. We are talking of security. Who needs security more than anybody? It's the women and the children. So we need, what do they call it now? Regional police or state police or whatever police. So the powers that it's only a federal IG that will tell the policeman that is guarding a state governor what to do. That is not right. We should also change all that. So I hope that this summit will come up with recommendations that will make life worth living in Nigeria for everybody.
Patriotically, I think this meeting is one of its kind because it provides an avenue for me to talk about constitutional rule for traditional rulers. Do not forget that before now, a lot of the duties of governance were in the hands of the traditional rulers. And it is when these things were taken away that we start to have this issue of insecurity, we start to have issue of disunity, we start to have issue of disharmony. But I know that the royal fathers in this country, they are so patriotic that they do not have another home. A politician can afford to go overseas. The royal fathers cannot go. So they are more concerned about the welfare of their people. They are more concerned about the survival of their people. But you cannot do all of this when you don't have a constitutional duty. You don't have a role. Sometimes you are questioned, your legality is questioned. It's put to question as how come you are doing this, what provision do you have in to back up what you are doing. But the politicians themselves, they know that when the ships are down, they still come to the royal father. What will I just say? We needed to be guided by constitutional provision. We needed to have a backup. So I think this meeting is a very important one because whatever amendment that will be done to our constitution in this country, except you have a provision for the traditional institution, we just like starting again. That is it. Do not forget that it is these royal fathers that advocate for peace in their individual kingdoms. If you have 774 local government and you have over 2,000 kingdoms in Nigeria, if you have peace in those over 2,000 kingdoms, it means you have peace in 774 local government. It means you have peace in 36 states and FCT inclusive. So it's a very serious business.
I want to say thank you so much. So we won't keep it too long, Your Highness.
You're welcome.
We won't keep it for too long. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If another person has a question, he can ask.
We don't want to keep it for too long.
Because this is where I'm coming from. I practiced journalism for 34 years. So well, I will not come here without saying something to my colleague. You can ask any other question, political. I'm here with you now.
All right. So we thought you were in we thought you were in a hurry to leave, Your Highness. All right, sir. Yeah, Ryan, as we've been talking about devolution of power even from local government, but then we have a situation even from the constitution where you see the local government chairmen tend to even control traditional rulers. Is this part of the plea for today's national summit?
You know, it is the constitution is a guiding document. It is what the constitution says that they are leveraging on. If the constitution wakes up tomorrow and say traditional rulers are authority and they have so responsibility, do not forget that the stipends of the traditional rulers are paid by the councils. So if that is taken away and you now have a source of income that is dependent, if the federal government is not funding the judiciary, you think they can take control of the judiciary? They are not funding the legislature. These are institutions that are needed independent by themselves. The royal father need independence. The judiciary need independence. The legislature, they need independence. Once you have your stipulated funding line that is independent of the federal government, of course you will begin to know your authority. As handsome as you are today, there are some volume of money that will come around you. Your authority around you will change. You begin to want to add more color to what you have already. It is the power of money. It's the power of authority. That is how powers are used. You just have it and you know how to use it. Don't worry, when we have the authority, we will know what to do. We will know how to defend ourselves and defend our institution.